The debut album from Dominic Fike is called What Could Possibly Go Wrong, and it's getting a lot of praise from critics and fans alike, not only for the music, but for the very cool visuals and artwork. Here to give us some details from behind the scenes is one of the creatives involved, Samm McAlear, as well as our own Misha Vladimirsky of Filterless. Welcome to you both.
Thanks, Pete. Samm, thanks for being on the show. And love
thanks
to
for having me.
chat with you about your current projects. I know you've been working with Dominic for a while now, and the album just dropped, and the music videos, and all the visual stuff. How did that come about? Like, how did you actually you and Dominic connect, and how was coming up with the vision for this new album?
So I met Dom, or found out about Dom, through my friend Reed Bennett, who's his creative director and his manager. And we've been in a group chat together for a while, and he'd hit me up like beginning of 2018, I think. Dom dropped like his demos and had just gone to jail. We put the music out for a day, and it started to kind of go crazy in the first week or whatever, and they took it down because they're like, well, like, we have something here. And then we already listening to it, and like Reed had hit me up being like, yo, like, I work with this kid, like, check him out, like, whatever. And then I just kind of like jumped in to like help them however I could, because at that point, like, he'd done some stuff in the music industry, but not really. And his manager was like kind of new to the industry, and so I like knew a bunch of people, and was just like, I've like been in it for a minute at this point, and so I was just trying to like help them connect the dots however I could to like get people to hear the music at labels, or like just like whatever I could do to kind of like help them, basically like help your friends out. As Dom grew and like signed the deal, we just started like working more and more, and like starting to figure out that vision of like who Dom was. But they're like some of my best friends. Like, whenever I go to LA, that's who I go hang out with, and so it's been cool to like you kind of get to like live life together as like homies, and then also like when you get to make things on the other side of it, it like makes it such a more unique process because it's somebody you're like around all the time, and so it gives you the opportunity to like we like all know him and know each other so well, and like there's just like this fluidity to everything that's really cool.
How did that cover come about with the projection, and how did you end up actually working with the team that did all the visuals for it? How did you choose?
Reed, his creative director, had come up with that concept pretty early on in the process of Dom making the album that he wanted to project, like the album title on a mountain. And he found a company in Scotland that's what they do, but they do a lot of stuff more like related to like banks or like financial institution type stuff, nothing really like this. And so he kind of like found somebody that did what he was thinking and got them to like reinterpret it that way. And then he came up with the idea of like projecting a music video on all these different locations across Scotland, and like doing them as time lapses and then speeding them up to like be as like a music video. Kid is brilliant, basically. So he kind of just like came up with that idea, and then we created the word mark and the icon around the story for the album, and then like those were projected. And then there's like a ghost orchid symbol, which kind of ties back to like a super rare species of flower that's only found in the Everglades in Florida. And Dom, obviously being from Florida, there's like a story and a tie back to it, and like a familiarity, and this like individuality of just like this rare sort of thing. So yeah, coming up with that, and then they projected it, and then Daniel obviously took a photo of Dom, and we were able to like composite him in there.
Well, I see a lot of really dope artwork on behind you, which I assume is all the stuff you've worked on, and some of it's amazing artists. But I know that you work with smaller artists. How do you find those smaller artists to work with, and who are you working with right now that you're like, this is going to be the next, Kehlani or Neon Trees, and so on and so forth?
So there's this kid, ALX, spelled ALX, that I work with and actually manage, from Naples, and like he's Dom's little brother. And like I met him through the process of working with Dom, and I was like, wow, like you're incredible. And I kind of had like thought about managing or whatever, and sort of like was like whatever. I was like, like let's try it and see what happens, and like do creative for him and kind of tie in. And so it's just like finding things like that I'm excited about. Really, I like to explore and find new music anyways. And so if I find some shit I like, I'll like reach out to them, or like reach out to their manager. And if I know somebody that knows them, I'll like hit them. And kind of just be like, yo, I like really like what you're doing. Would love to like be a part of it and kind of help you build things from the ground up. There's something fun about helping like an artist build their platform to like grow the rest of their career from creatively, even if I'm not working with them further than like their first project, but being able to like come in and like sit down with them and help them like shape kind of like their vision for how they see themselves growing and help them like, yeah, lay that foundation so that they're able to like build off of that step by step as they grow.
So what's your creative process like with an artist, whether it is a G-Eazy or Kaylani or, you know, Dominic or Alex? Like how do you start a project and actually guide it? Like, you know, because some folks, you know, really either get inspired by people's work or they have to listen to their music or whatever. What's your process?
For me, music is like definitely a big part of it. Like I don't really like, I won't really work on something if I can't have the music, because like I'm like, I don't want to just make something cool. I want to do something that's like going to tell a story of like, because the visual representation is like what somebody's going to see before they even listen to the song. So I want to like make sure that whatever I'm creating like captures the essence of it. So that's like a super important part of the process for me. It's like listen to the music. And then also, like I mentioned earlier, is like to talk with the artist. Like, it's funny, like some managers like, they're like, what? And I'm like, I don't talk to you. I talk to the artist, and like, I'll like send you a comp along the way, but like, it doesn't really like your opinion is like not, I'll like listen to you. But like at the end of the day, like it's about like what myself and the artist are going to create for their art. And I think I'm lucky because I've gotten to the point where like people trust me in that now, and they're not like, oh no, like, is it going to come out? They're like, no, like, all right, you're bringing Samm in. It's going to get done. It creates great stuff. And so they like, let me do that. Cause yeah, for me, then it's like, you're not going through a middleman of like trying to understand like what the feedback is from the artist coming from the manager, because then it might get diluted a little bit or like their 2 cents put into it. And so there's something nice about just working with the artist and like understanding their vision. And I don't know, I also see myself as an artist. So there's like this level of understanding and like the types of conversations you're able to have creatively where like you might not be able to put something into words fully, but they'll understand what you mean and then talk into it themselves and be able to like elaborate on it. And it just becomes a lot more like of a fruitful conversation.
Thanks for coming on board and having this chat with us.
Thanks for having me.
We'd love to, you know, maybe Alex can come on the show as an artist, and Pete can talk to him.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. We'd love that.
I appreciate it.